Have you ever wondered what the hell to look for when trying to find a healthy masculine man? Well, in this episode, I got you covered. I'm going to be sharing with you the top 6 things to look for to quickly and easily identify a healthy masculine man. Yes, the key word there is healthy. Now, I am very well aware that in our society, there's a lot of men that want princess treatment, okay? These men are not masculine. In fact, they're the opposite of masculine. These beta males that want to be treated like a little princess are not embodying healthy masculine energy. So in this episode, I'm going to be breaking down exactly how to identify a healthy masculine man. Let's get into it. Number 1, a healthy masculine man exudes a sense of confidence. Let me say this very clearly. Masculine men exude a sense of confidence, but this is not to be confused with him being arrogant. A self-centered man who always talks about himself and how great he is at things is actually deeply insecure. He's not confident, okay? A confident man is genuinely very humble, okay? He doesn't need to boast how great he is at things. He doesn't need to tell you about all the money he makes or how big his house is or flex his muscles constantly to you because he doesn't need validation from you. See, when a man is insecure and weak inside, he becomes very loud. He becomes very outwardly expressed because he needs validation and attention because deep down inside, that little boy inside of him, that wounded little boy, is still seeking attention from mommy. So then he goes out in the world and he dates a bunch of women that give him that fake validation that he is seeking, but he still never really feels fulfilled by it. So a truly masculine man embodies confidence, but not arrogance. He is not an arrogant man. He is a humble man. He knows his strength. He knows his power. He doesn't need to prove himself to other people. And you can feel that. And when a woman is with this type of man, she naturally feels safe because he has the ability to step up and confidently handle things. If something goes wrong or she needs something done, she can trust that he is going to handle it. My wife, I believe, has a lot of confidence in me to figure things out and solve problems. She doesn't try to mother me. She doesn't micromanage me. She doesn't hover over me. She's actually very good at just kind of letting me figure it out because she believes in me, because she knows deep down inside that I also believe in myself very much so. So whenever we have a challenge or an issue that comes up in our life, she does a very good job of supporting me from a distance. She doesn't get right into it with me. Sometimes she does if I need her to, but she doesn't try to solve the problem because she knows that I have confidence in what I am doing. Now, this builds trust in our relationship because of that. So in order to have a man with confidence, you can't micromanage him, right? And this is a whole other conversation because there's a whole epidemic of women right now that are mothering men and it's killing their intimacy with them. But a confident man won't allow you to do those things, okay? Because he's going to have belief in himself, but he's also going to have self-respect. And he won't allow a woman, especially, to hover over him and micromanage him and control his actions. He'll set a healthy boundary, right? Number 2, emotional intelligence. A healthy masculine man embodies emotional intelligence, meaning, let's give an example here. He is not reactive and impulsive. So say you have an argument and maybe you become very sensitive or emotional if you're a woman listening to this. And he doesn't necessarily match that energy. He stays grounded and calm. Let me say that again. He's not matching the feminine energy. He stays grounded and calm. This is because he has developed emotional intelligence. And he knows that in order for a woman to be feminine in his presence, he must remain grounded and calm, especially during her moments of storm, right? And by storm, I don't mean that you are being disrespectful or abusive towards him, because once again, a healthy masculine man will have strong boundaries. He will not allow himself to ever be disrespected. So, a man with emotional intelligence has also emotional resilience, meaning that he can handle tough, challenging situations. A masculine man is built biologically to handle stress. So when a woman tends to be mothering towards him, you're forgetting that his masculine nature is to be able to problem solve and work through hard challenges. This also makes him feel masculine. Men need challenge in their life, or else they become too comfortable, which then leads them to becoming too soft. So if you guys have an argument and you notice that he becomes very reactive and very emotional and very sensitive, or he sends those long ass fucking text messages, you know what I'm talking about, and you're like, wait a minute, am I dating a chick right now? Because he's acting like a woman who is very emotional and crazy in her, whatever she's going through, like a crazy wounded woman, we'll call her. But do you know how you sometimes get very emotional and you want to dump all your expressions onto a man? And you do that and you're like, why did I just do that? When a man does that, it puts him into a very feminine state, right? So it shows his cards when things go wrong. If a man becomes very emotional, reactive, and impulsive, he's in that wounded feminine energy because he's acting like a whiny little brat, throwing temper tantrums, like a whiny little boy. And this man is not strong in his masculine frame. Because remember, it's very easy to be masculine when everything is going good, when he's making money, when he's got the woman he wants, when she's not sensitive or emotional, when everything is good in his life, right? But the real test of a man is not when things are good. A real test of a man that defines his masculinity is when shit hits the fan. Because what does he do? That right there will show you everything you need to know about a man, how he handles stress and hard times. That is everything you will need to know about a man by the way he handles stress and hard times. Because I'm going to tell you right now, if he does not handle hard times well, how are you ever going to have a healthy relationship with him? Every single relationship, my relationship with my wife involves stress at times. It involves challenge at times. It involves uncomfortable conversations. It involves boundaries. And if I could not keep my composure in those moments, then she would never trust me. She would never trust me to lead our relationship, to lead our family, to provide for our family. And it would make her be overly masculine. And so many women right now are in relationships with men or trying to date men that are still wounded and emotionally avoidant. And they're prying into him, trying to get him to open. But it's the wrong way to go about it. So, emotional intelligence and how he reacts during hard times is really going to tell you a lot about him. Of course, he's allowed to be upset sometimes. He's allowed to have moments of stress. He's allowed to get angry, but obviously not abusive. But he's allowed to do those things from time to time. But if he consistently does that and acts like a whiny little brat, then that shows a lot about him and the type of man he is. Because if he can't handle stress, then he will never be able to hold space for your emotions. Number 3, leadership and responsibility. Every single masculine man that I've ever encountered, at least, naturally wants to be the leader. Okay? And I observe this in my friends from time to time. Men naturally want to take the lead. Okay? So what he leads and how he leads is very important. Is he controlling and dominating and disempowering to other people? Or does he lead with a sense of safety? Does he lead with other people's best interest in mind? Or is he very selfish? He's more like the dictator that demands that you follow him versus the man who is inviting you on his ship. Because ultimately that's what you want, especially as a feminine woman. You want to feel safe to get on his ship. You don't want to feel like you were knocked down and dragged onto his ship. right? I was doing some couples work a while back, and I had this conversation with the couple. And I said to the woman, I said, what is the number one thing, because they were in the process actually of a divorce by the time they got to me. What is the number one thing that you needed from your husband throughout your relationship that you did not get? And she said, for him to lean in and tell me that everything was going to be okay. And he never did that. He never gave me that sense of reassurance that everything was going to be all right. Because women need that. Women get too emotional. They get too sensitive. And they lose themselves. They can't think clearly because they're so in their feelings, right? That's why a man's logic balances that out. And this is nothing against the feminine nature. I think the feminine nature is amazing. But as a woman, your emotions and your hormones are always fluctuating, right? So man brings logic and reason to you. And in the reverse of that, a woman brings softness and nurturing to a masculine man who sometimes becomes way too rigid and uptight. So you have to know your strengths and weaknesses. And these are the differences, the biological differences between man and woman. So, leadership and responsibility. What is this man responsible for in his life? How is he leading his life? How is he leading others? Or is he this laid back, let's just go with the flow and see where it goes, man, type fuck? Because that's what he is. Those type of women that end up with this man, they're like, how? Why? What? Like they're so confused, right? Because what often happens, I see a lot of, is this uptight, controlling woman will end up in a relationship with a laid back, passive man. And then she excuses his passivity by saying, oh, he balances me out. He balances me out because he's so laid back. Bullshit. He doesn't balance you out. He stresses you out more because he can't make a fucking decision. Let's be honest about it. A woman doesn't want to have to make decisions all day long. She can, and she can do a great job. Women are really good at organizing. Women are really good at planning shit. Women are really good at leading too. But they don't want to have to do that all the time. A feminine woman doesn't. She wants the man to take care of those things. She wants the man to be a man, which is leading, protecting, providing, making decisions, holding space, being grounded. All of these things allow her to feel feminine in the relationship with him. And if he doesn't step up and do those things and he's not leading and he's not a responsible man, guess what happens? We could just look at it like a battery being charged, right? Where her masculine battery becomes so full. She becomes so inundated with masculine energy. It just kills her inside out. It affects her health. It affects her well-being. It affects her happiness. Her stress levels go through the roof, her cortisol levels, especially when a woman has to be masculine. But the good news is when a man is masculine in the relationship, it allows her mind to settle and her body to soften. Of course, there's work here for her to do as well to feel safe, because a lot of women are carrying unresolved trauma towards men, which blocks them from being feminine in the relationship. So it's not all a man's responsibility here. Number 4, ambition and purpose. A man that is masculine will be ambitious. Now, once again, this is up to him to know when to turn it off. When he's with his family, when he's with his wife, to put the phone away, to stop working, to have boundaries. But a man that is masculine has drive. You don't want a lazy man, right? You want a man with purpose, with mission, with vision, who's building something that you can be a part of. That's why I don't understand how these stay-at-home dads feel fulfilled. And I'm just being very honest with you right now. Like these stay-at-home dads that have the breadwinner wife, it's just a matter of time before she gets sick of his bullshit, right? Like she gets sick of him not providing, for him always just kind of laying back and her just taking care of everything. Like, it's just a matter of time. That's why I never understood this dynamic. These breadwinner women that have retired their husbands is going to come back and bite them in the ass at some point, because they're going to wake up one day and realize they have chosen to be with a very feminine man. And they've also chosen to be very masculine in their relationship, to be the provider. That is not the way that nature intended for us to be, biblically or biologically. This doesn't mean that a woman can't contribute to the house and to the finances, right? But when a man has healthy masculine energy, he's going to have a lot of testosterone, right? That testosterone is going to need to go somewhere. Hopefully it goes in a healthy direction and not into addictions or pornography or scrolling on his phone or stupid shit like gambling, right? Video games, more stupid shit. Hopefully he takes that ambition and drive and he channels it into something really meaningful, which a healthy masculine man will. Helping other people, being of service, giving back to the community, being a good man, being helpful. Because he, at his deepest core level, needs to feel needed. And if he doesn't feel needed, he begins to wither away. In all aspects of his life, he needs to feel needed in his relationship. He needs to feel needed by society. He needs to feel needed for everything he does. He needs to have a sense of purpose. He needs to be useful. I have worked with so many different men throughout my life that I've noticed the same pattern in. When they don't have a sense of purpose and meaning, they take their energy, or testosterone, if you will, and their masculine energy, and they direct it into an area that becomes very harmful and toxic. That's why addictions run so rampant in men, because they're fucking bored, right? They have too much energy. They don't know what to do. So they try to release that energy through the addiction. They try to feel a little bit of freedom through that addiction. Doesn't work like that. Number 5, decisiveness. A masculine man will not sit on things for too long. Sure, he will reflect upon it. He'll think about it, but he'll be decisive. He'll make a decision. Eventually, especially if it's a big decision, he should take time to reflect upon it. But he's also very decisive. So he's not going to take oodle amounts of time to make a decision most of the time, unless it's, like I said, a big thing. But if it's planning a date, he'll make a decision. If it's choosing a time or an important thing to do, let him make a decision, right? Like, he wants to make a decision. Encourage him to make a decision, because that makes him feel masculine. But an indecisive man is still undeveloped in his masculinity. Let me say this one more time. An indecisive man is still very undeveloped in his masculinity, because he's afraid to get it wrong. He's afraid to make the wrong decision. He's afraid to fail. So then what he does is he puts all of the pressure on the woman to make the decision. And sure, she makes the decision. She keeps making the decision. And eventually she makes all the decisions. And eventually she becomes really burned out, bitter, and wants to leave his ass. And this is one of the biggest downfalls of relationships in our society, is men are not stepping up and making decisions, taking the lead, taking charge. Because this ultimately allows him to feel masculine in the relationship when he is leading. Women are overly leading, overly controlling, overly micromanaging in their relationships. I see this all the time. All the time, women cutting their men off in the middle of sentences, speaking for them, micromanaging them, mothering them. And I'm just like, my stomach churns when I see this shit. How could it not? As a man myself, I see those things. I go, how do you allow your woman to do that to you? How do you allow her to speak for you? How do you allow her to look at you and say, did you eat today? You look like you're hungry, or you look like you need a nap. Do you need your diaper changed? That's what it sounds like. Treating these men like little boys, and these men are allowing it. I'm talking grown-ass men. These aren't even teenage boys. I'm talking grown-ass men that are allowing it. So women need to pull back. Men need to step in. And when that happens, hopefully it happens, at a bigger scale, our society will begin to repair itself, will begin to heal. Because the biggest problem in our society right now is the decline of masculinity in men. I mean, it's even showing in the hormones. Testosterone is dropping, plummeting. And the increase of masculinity in women. It is affecting them as well. Fertility rates and everything else. Women are being greatly affected because of the amount of masculinity they are having to exude to make it in this world, because they're living in fucking survival mode. They have to constantly produce and give and achieve all day long. It just drains their feminine energy. And this is a really big problem right now. Number 6, the last one here. Thank you for staying with me this long, by the way. I hope this is bringing you some clarity and value, which I believe it is if you're listening closely, right? And by the way, if you want to learn more about this stuff, whether dating or relationships, I have all kinds of more in-depth courses and programs in the show notes below. Okay, so below this, you can click the links. I have a Polarity Dating 101 program that's coming up for all you single people that want to learn how to embody healthy masculine and feminine energies to find the relationship of your dreams. I have courses for women to inspire a man's masculinity. I have courses for men to step into masculine leadership. I have a course for healing your masculine and feminine energies. If it circles around relationships, intimacy, masculine and feminine energies, I got you covered. So once again, click in the description below and you will find what you are looking for. Number 6 is chivalrous. I know that this seems to be a word that is dying in today's society, but a healthy masculine man is a man who is chivalrous, okay? He is a man that wants to provide. He is a man that wants to take care of his woman. He is a man that wants to pay the bill, not split the bill. Holy shit, did I say that? Did I just say those words? Oh my God, I am so controversial. Controversial? Whatever. That's what I am, right? A healthy masculine man doesn't want to split the bill. He doesn't want to split the bill. He wants to take care of the woman. Even if it's the last date they ever go on, he still wants to take care of the woman, right? A healthy masculine man is going to pull out your chair for you. He's going to put your coat on. He's going to put you on the inside of the street when you're walking on the street so he takes on traffic. He's going to be protective. He's going to be attentive. These are signs that a man is truly masculine. And let me throw this out there as well. If he doesn't do this shit early on in the relationship, he's probably never gonna, okay? Because masculinity is inherently in a man or it's not. Sure, it can be developed and refined, but ultimately his core is either masculine or it's not. The core of a man, you have to learn that you're either going to accept it or not. The same thing with men listening to this for women. If a core of a woman is just difficult and resistant and is just all around hard to be with, that's probably not going to change, okay? So you have to realize that the core of people, you can't change that core. They can work on themselves. They can refine it. They can change their personality a little bit and their bad habits a little bit. But just think about how hard it is to change a habit. So if a man is naturally giving and naturally chivalrous and naturally providing, this is a really good sign that he is going to be a great, healthy, masculine man, right? Like he is a good, healthy, masculine man. It's probably the number one sign that I would say is how chivalrous is he? How giving is he? How thoughtful is he? How aware of you is he? Because a masculine man is always looking for ways to be of service because he wants to feel needed. He wants to feel important. Thank you for taking the time to listen to this. If it brought you value and you found value in it, please feel free to subscribe to my YouTube channel. That would mean the world to me. And take a moment and share this video with someone that you love. Share it to your Instagram story and tag me. I would love to know what resonated the most with you. Please have a great rest of your day, and thank you for tuning in today.